Hi, I'm Terry Brock with terrybrock.com, and as a travel agent, you know that it's very important to market effectively, and there's all kinds of tools available. Right now, we've got some tools that are new and high-tech social media, but there's also a lot of tools that are still working effectively for travel agents for branding. And to help you understand how you can use it, I've got with me a good buddy and an expert on branding who joins us now from his office over in Largo, Florida, Ken Banks. Ken, thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Terry. It's always a pleasure to be with you and to talk branding. It's my favorite subject, as you well know, and the challenges aren't getting any smaller out there for marketers, and I would suspect it's not getting any smaller for our travel agents.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly. We're seeing a whole shifting in the industry. As you know, people are saying, gee, we'll buy it on our own. They're going through the internet. And yet there's still some ways that travel agents can do very well, particularly with cruises and when they're planning and being there as a trusted advisor. But I wanted to go to you today. And the reason we got you on the screen, Ken, and talking with you is because you're an expert in this. You're an expert in marketing, an expert in branding. You have helped many, many businesses on how to do things. I'm working with Dayton Hudson. You've worked with PetSmart, and you've worked with a lot of different companies. But we want to take that expertise and really focus it on how travel agents can use that. What do you see happening, first of all, in the industry in the big picture? Then let's bring it down to some specifics that you see are working particularly well for small business and how travel agents will be able to use that.
Well, you know, Terry, we're all kind of infatuated by the social networking and an online marketing, almost to a fault these days. And there's no question that it's having a revolutionary impact on the way every type of business is conducting their sales and their revenues these days. You can't live without it. Particularly in the travel business, you know, there's that tendency to think that, well, you know, anybody can go online and do anything they want in terms of the travel, and the fact is they can. But it's not unlike all the retailers out there who could say, well, you know, you can buy just about anything you want to buy online and never have to get out of your home or your office.
That's true.
Well, that's true. But why is it then that the vast majority still like to go into a store, be waited on by a knowledgeable, helpful person, and have a pleasant experience while they do it? Mm-hmm. And the fact of it is that people do want that personal touch. You know, we talk about branding a lot, and a lot of people ask me, so, well, what really do you think a brand is? And you know, and of course, one of the definitions is that it's an identity that stimulates a precise and meaningful perception about what you stand for.
Oh, that sounds good. Say that again.
An identity that stimulates a precise and meaningful perception about what you stand for.
I like that. Okay.
Now, that's a pretty concise way of saying it, but I think in layman's terms and in terms of what we think about in terms of the customer, I like what Dr. Len Berry at Texas A&M says about a brand, and that is a brand is really what you're famous for with your consumer.
Okay, so what you're famous for. So what can a travel agent do to become famous in a particular area?
Yeah, well, you know, obviously if you're a travel agent and what you say, well, what are you really famous for? And you say, well, I help people take trips. Well, guess what? Every other travel agent in the world does that, and so does your computer, and so does every one of the travel sites. So that's not really enough. However, if you said, you know, I take the headaches out of travel.
Ooh.
God knows you and I travel a lot ourselves, and we know that it's not the wonderful joys of travel are not there anymore. There's a challenge everywhere you go because of all of the restrictions and all of the security and all of the weather delays and mechanical, you name it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that.
So what we want to do is find out what is it that the travel agent can do, and I've kind of narrowed it down to three things, and that I've learned from talking with, especially with retailers. And I think the first thing is that what customers really want more than anything else today, Terry, is convenience. Now, you'd say, well, wait, does that mean I want to have a travel agent on every corner just like a Starbucks? No, it's not that. Convenience really is making it easy for people to do business with you or to do what they want. In this case, it's to plan a trip, work out the details of the trip, figure out the finances behind it and save some money and so forth. But take away the headaches of planning that trip. Make it easy for the customer, because what most customers today are just in a time crunch society, just don't have the time to do it. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people still don't just go online and go onto a travel site and make all the reservations and then do it, because even that requires, you're constantly checking to make sure you're getting the right thing. Is this going to work and all that? They want the convenience of knowing that they're going to get it right the first time. They don't want to spend a lot of time doing it. They want to eliminate the stress of not only planning the trip, but they want to eliminate the stress so that when they take the trip, things just fall into place.
Yeah, so the travel agent starts branding himself or herself as that person who is the convenience guide, the authority on making it easy. We make your trips easy, and that becomes your brand right there.
Yeah, and really what it comes down to is that if I can do it with one phone call or one keystroke, if you will, with one contact point and get everything taken care of, that makes it a lot easier for me, rather than, let's talk about the online, rather than going on, one site to get my flights, another site to get my car, another one to get my hotel, another one to find out what restaurants are popular in the place.
Yeah, and all that stuff. Well, that makes a lot of sense. They're making it much easier. Well, give me some other things. We're running out of time here. I want to make sure that we get some other points. What would be another thing that travel agents could do today?
Well, the second thing to emphasize is their expertise. One of the key benefits in a brand is that you can provide something that they can't do themselves, and the expertise, people really do want that. It's I said that in the retail business, that they want to go into the store and get somebody that knows a little bit more about that product that they're going to buy than they do. They want the expertise. They want recommendations that will make the travel better than they expected. They want some of those insider tips that only someone who does this for a living can provide. Whether it's, if you fly out of Orlando instead of Tampa, you can get a nonstop flight to Seattle or something like that. Or rather than fly into Boston, which is congested, and you want a trip to Bar Harbor, Maine, why don't you fly into Manchester, New Hampshire? It'll be a lot easier. Things like that bring that expertise, because customers really want that when they're going to a travel agent.
That makes all the difference in the world, because that extra little thing is where the whole experience is differentiated.
That's
little
where you get
things
the stuff.
Are very important.
Yeah, that's where you get the things that are beyond the expectation. That's what makes you stand out from the other one. And by the way, that's the one that generates more publicity for yourself, because if these people, your customers, have a great experience, guess what they do? They tell other people, whether they're on the trip with them or when they get back. They say, I worked with so-and-so, and they really made this worthwhile. And that brings me to the third point, which I think is critical, and that's communication. One of the things we can always do, like I say, you can do all this stuff online, but you want somebody to follow up with you, to make sure to remind you that, okay, it's 2 weeks out right now, you should be making sure that you do have your car arrangements made. Do you have your hotel reservations? And by the way, there's a hurricane here, you might want to have travel insurance coming through. Constantly communicating right up to the time of departure. And then when you get back, also to have communication to find out, how did the trip go? Was there anything we could have done better? Here's some other suggestions. What are you planning for the future? We all like to, one of the things about when we travel, especially, we like to talk about the trips and everything. And this is no difference when we deal with our relationship with our travel agent. We want to have that communication to say it's your form of research to help, future customers and everything. So I think, one of our problems is in our cyber world is that, we put it in there and we think everything's taken care of, but we never really have any personal contact with anybody. And there's always that, trepidation that, well, did everything go through? Because I don't want to arrive at the airport or at the cruise port and find out that we don't have a reservation for you, or you didn't have all the documentation that you needed, etc. Especially for international travel, there's a lot of these requests right now, and with all the new regulations and baggage and seating assignments and everything, that's where this communication, coupled with the expertise that the travel agents have, really formulate what you're famous for, if you will.
Ken, that makes a lot of sense. So we look at those three things, making sure that we have the convenience that we provide to others, have the expertise from the training and study, and then have that communication ongoing throughout the process. It really helps in the branding, and those are some really good points that we can all use. As travel agents can use that. So and I would have to say businesses just about anywhere can use those things. Ken, if someone wants to get in touch with you and find out more about the services you have, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, it's the easiest way, of course, is to go online. I have a very simple website. It's www.kenbanks.com, all one word, Ken Banks. Of course, they can always call me at area 727-515-1932. But if you go on my website, and I also provide a monthly blog on marketing and branding, too, that they can sign up right by going to the website.
Yes. Matter of fact, I've read that myself and enjoy every issue that I get. You always have some good insights that we can use. Well, Ken, thank you very much for joining us today. Really good points, and it's always good to hear from you.
Good. That's always good to talk to you, Terry, and I hope that branding will help make the travel business even more successful in the future.
You bet.